However, what we are starting to hear more and more rumbles about is that this theatrical release may be even more limited than first thought. It could be that what's going to end up happening is that it's going to be in a handful of theaters and then go straight to streaming at the same time. That is starting to look more and more likely from what the rumors that I'm hearing.
This video is sponsored by Surfshark. On November 18th, Variety confirmed the rumors we had heard to have been accurate. On December 25th, Wonder Woman 84 will now be released simultaneously on both HBO Max and in theaters, the few that are open anyway. In this editorial, I will detail why that signals the end for the theatrical experience as we know it, and to big-budget blockbuster cinema at large. On that note, I'll also go through how Wonder Woman 84 now has to transition from prospective billion-dollar movie to loss leader. And finally, where international audiences can see the movie, as HBO Max is restricted to the US only. Avengers Endgame was aptly, if ironically, named. It didn't mark the end of just the MCU as we knew it. It retroactively marked the endgame for the mega-budget summer blockbuster as cultural events and a unifying social experience, because that won't happen again. Yeah, I realize both Joker and Rise of Skywalker crossed $1 billion and came later, but Joker was a comparatively low-budget feature that massively overperformed, while Rise of Skywalker was a high-grossing flop that everyone hated. Endgame was the last true event picture. It is the highest-grossing movie of all time, and that record will probably never be topped, as there will be no more wide releases to challenge it. Not now, and not in the foreseeable post-pandemic future either. There are two reasons for that, and they are connected. First and foremost, it is the lockdown of Western civilization, which is the politically imposed response to the global pandemic. In this atmosphere, Tenet was the proverbial canary sent down the coal mine, and that canary died. Like all other blockbuster movies due to be released from the spring of 2020 onwards, Wonder Woman 84 was pushed back several times over, hoping to wait out the societal shutdown. But there are costs associated with pushing movies like these back, and it can only be done for so long. Case in point, we know that No Time to Die accumulates an extra $1 million in interest costs for each additional month where it's not released. And I guarantee you that numbers are similar for every other blockbuster that has been pushed back. They could justify that additional cost when the belief was that the marketplace would return to what it had been just a few months down the line, or next summer at the most. But now, realization is starting to hit home that there's probably not going to be a profitable market for these movies ever again. That realization then ties directly into the second reason why the theatrical blockbuster experience isn't coming back. Namely, that the studios are going direct to consumer because of it. Disney's stated intent of going direct to consumer is actually why their share price rose, even after detailing how many billions they had lost at last week's Q4 earnings call. But what does going direct to consumer actually mean? Well, it simply means cutting out the middleman, which in this case would be theatrical distribution. That way, the movie production company is in full control of the entire production and distribution chain, which is awesome for them. They just have to scale future productions back to a cost level where each project can succeed, even if it's just one small part of an overall content offering package. This comes at a cost though, and in no small part at the theater's expense. Because for theaters, this will only hasten their demise, and there is some level of self-fulfilling prophecy going on here. It goes like this. The political decision is made to shut down the economy, which means theaters have to close or operate at reduced capacity. When they do, there isn't a market for blockbusters, so the studios push them back. But then theaters have no content that will draw audiences, so they can't justify operating at even the reduced capacity they're allowed to. And then they have to close their doors, eventually for good. Anticipating that, the studios deliver their movies direct to consumers, bypassing theaters altogether, thereby extinguishing the light that theaters used to see at the end of the tunnel. That is what is going on here, and that is why the marketplace that could sustain mega-budget blockbusters is already a thing of the past. This is how monumental change in society happens. You don't realize it until it has already happened. There will still be theaters in the future, I'm not saying otherwise, but the big chains are in for a very, very painful transition, which will see a lot of people lose their jobs. And the film studios are in for a very painful transition as well. I haven't spoken much about Wonder Woman 84 yet, for the simple reason that contrary to what some headlines out there might lead you to believe, Wonder Woman 84 didn't kill theaters. No, the marketplace for movies like Wonder Woman 84 is already dead. It's just now that the industry is starting to accept it and adapt to it. In the short run, they're not happy about it. Case in point, AT&T and Warner are in debt, and a lot of it. And at the start of this year, they fully expected both Tenet and Wonder Woman 84 to be billion-dollar blockbusters that would contribute towards greatly reducing that debt. This did not happen. Instead, Tenet is already a bomb by conventional metrics. And Wonder Woman 84 is right now in the process of transitioning from prospective billion-dollar movie to a loss leader, a necessary sacrifice to further HBO Max. Alongside Disney and a couple of others, AT&T and Warner are in the lucky position that they have a proprietary streaming service which gives them a lifeline to make it through the transitioning to a post-pandemic world, whatever that may look like. They haven't managed HBO Max very well so far, but putting Wonder Woman 84 there should give them some much needed traction. For the month that it'll be there anyway. After that, they're gonna need something else. They'll never recoup the money they spent on Wonder Woman 84, but at this stage, that's sunk cost. Now it's about adapting to a new situation. That's true not just for Wonder Woman 84, but for all blockbuster movies pending release. Case in point, I fully expect them to do the same thing with Dune, simultaneous HBO Max release alongside a limited theatrical release. Likewise, whatever they may say right now, expect to see Black Widow on Disney Plus before you know it. But Disney Plus is by now available in most of the Western world, if nothing else, something the US exclusive HBO Max is not. That leaves those of us outside of the US wondering, what about us? Well, they said the movie would open in theaters earlier internationally, but that's something of a hollow measure, since theaters will probably remain closed by then anyway. So the question remains, will those of us outside of the US get to see Wonder Woman 84 on December 25th as well? Or will this be Star Trek Lower Decks all over again? Because that's still not available to anyone outside of North America. Even a year after its launch in the US, Disney Plus remains unavailable to large swaths of audiences around the world. And due to prior distribution deals with local partnerships, HBO Max can't even begin to roll out internationally for years yet. Depending on where you are, chances are a local service will host Wonder Woman 84 day and date with the US release. But again, depending on where you are and what deal exists or does not exist with a local provider near you. Geo-blocking could very well restrict you from seeing Wonder Woman 84 and indeed a whole host of other streaming programming, even if it's been made available elsewhere. Luckily, there are ways around geo-blocking restrictions, for instance by using a VPN, such as the one delivered by this channel's sponsor, Surfshark. A VPN, or Virtual Private Network, is a privacy protection tool which guarantees instant online safety. Surfshark encrypts all the data sent via the internet so that no one can obtain or steal your data, including usernames, passwords, and private messages. On top of that, and this is what's relevant to streaming, Surfshark allows you to bypass geo-blocking restrictions by changing the country you access the internet from. Something which incidentally also gives you access to 15 different Netflix libraries by simply changing your virtual location. One of the advantages with Surfshark over many other VPN providers is that it allows one account to be used on unlimited devices. That's part of the reason why Surfshark is the VPN of our choice, and it gets even better. If you type in the code MIDNIGHT when ordering, that triggers an exclusive offer in which you now get 84% of the normal list price, plus 4 extra months for free. Surfshark also offers a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk in trying it out. Do check out the link in the description below for further details and to order. And now that you know how to facilitate your watching Wonder Woman 84, let me know your thoughts on it being released simultaneously in theaters and on HBO Max, and what that could mean for the future in the comments.